to our senior law enforcement correspondent, Mark Santillo, has more details. Mark, what have you learned?
Eamon, we just, from two sources, briefed on the incident as well as an internal law enforcement document. We know now that the suspect is Nasir Best, who was transported to George Washington Hospital. As his Secret Service said, he has passed away. The suspect previously approached the White House. There was interaction in the past between the suspect and law enforcement in June of 2025. There was an order for him to stay away from the White House. That incident in June of 2025, from an internal law enforcement document, according to sources, it happened on last summer near the White House. An officer in police uniform, full police uniform, was working at a pedestrian access control post at the White House when he observed Best, the suspect, walk into a restricted area by using the exit turnstile lane that was located at the post. And apparently that restricted area had multiple signs there, Eamon, stating, "Do not enter, exit only, police line, do not cross, pass holders and appointments only." Again, this was near the White House area. The suspect was immediately told to stop. The suspect did not listen to the verbal commands from the officer, did not stop, and continued to go further into the restricted area. The suspect was arrested. According to multiple sources, the suspect had no prior arrests at that time. The suspect claimed he was Jesus Christ and he wanted to, quote, get arrested. The suspect has a history of mental health issues. Again, suspect known to United States Secret Service for walking around the White House area complex, inquiring how to gain access, and was taken into custody last year. Again, the suspect being named as Nasir Best. We know tonight, just after 6 o'clock, President Trump was in the White House. That's when law enforcement sources say Best walked up to that checkpoint with a bag, took a handgun out of that bag, opened fire on Secret Service officers who returned fire, killing Best. Best was rushed to the hospital, died at the hospital at George Washington Hospital there in D.C., and they're trying to gather more information at this time. You're taking a look at that video on the side of your screen, left side of your screen. Those evidence markers, it appears several rounds were fired. Rob would be able to speak to this much more than me, but you see all of those orange cones, those evidence markers on the ground there. It appears multiple rounds were fired in a very busy portion of Washington, D.C., near the White House there. But again, the suspect being identified from two sources, 21-year-old Nasir Best. He was transported to the hospital after law enforcement says he opened fire on Secret Service officers. Secret Service officers returned fire. Best has died. The 21-year-old suspect has died. He was known to the Secret Service. He was taken into custody last year. When he entered an area that was off limits, taken into custody. Again, law enforcement sources say he has a history of mental health issues. They are now trying to gather more information if Best was speaking to anybody about what he was planning to do this evening, if he has any connections, if he talked to anyone else. So a lot of work happening behind the scenes right now. Again, you heard Tom and Rob both say law enforcement will be looking at that weapon, at that handgun that Best allegedly had in his bag. They'll see if that was used in any other crimes, where that was purchased, how he may have gotten to the area. So a lot of work happening right now. But we know this suspect, Nasir Best, 21 years old, has